Yay! Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of our author series on writing, like happy writing things. I'm here with Emmy Watanabe Cohen. She's on this side of the screen, I think.
Yes.
Yeah,
Hello.
and yeah, I'm so excited. So, Emmy, did you want to introduce yourself and talk a little bit about your books?
I'm Emmy, and I am the author of the Lost Ryu. Haven't said that title in a while. I've just been referring it in my head as the Dragon Book. I'm also currently working on another middle grade novel called Golem Crafters, which is coming out eventually.
Yeah. I feel very special because I got to read The Lost Ryu before it was called that. I was looking through my files because I was beta reading for another author and like has all the beta like notes and stuff saved in one folder. I was like, "Oh yeah, I remember this." And it used to be called something else, and I felt very special that I got to read that beforehand.
I think I just
Yeah.
called it like the characters' names or something
Hmm.
like that.
Yeah,
Still often
yeah.
how I refer to it in my head is just like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, those people's story.
Yeah, yeah, and then I got to read it as a finalized version, and it was, like, just magical, so
Oh, okay.
yeah, I'm glad it exists. Yeah, okay, so, yeah, we're gonna talk about the, writing lifestyle, like, things that make us happy, and, like, just to give you a little bit of background, because I kinda, like, bombarded you with this project out of the blue, but, like, this was born because, like, lately I was, like, kind of depressed, and like writing used to be like my like outlet to, I don't know, like get out of whatever issues I'm struggling with. But for a while it also felt like, oh my God, like writing is also becoming another stressor. I would also talk to other writers and like they would be sort of down too. So I wanted to have something where I just like focus on like the happiness of writing and like things, because like writing doesn't always have to be like a happy thing, but then there are things that you we can do to like make it easier, because a lot of it is like very miserable for some reason. I don't know. Yeah, and I also don't know why I keep like putting myself into this misery, like why I keep like continuing self-torturing myself, except that I'm sure that there are things that I like about it. So I wanted to focus on that. Anyway, long backstory, but I'm going to start us off with a question. But first, I want to know, what are you reading? Are you reading anything right now, or have you read anything recently that's really good?
Actually, today I just finished The Empress of Time, Kylie Lee Baker's the second
Oh,
in the
oh my
duology,
gosh, you
our
got
fellow agent
yours.
sister. Yeah, I got it and it's beautiful and I read it and I have a new favorite character now, but I don't know if I can say who it is without giving spoilers.
Yeah,
Um,
probably. Yeah, probably not.
yeah. It is dragon shaped. That's all I'll say. Um, but yeah, so that was I sat down and I read the entire thing and I was like, that's a book.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, I still haven't gotten mine, so I've been like
Oh yeah.
anxiously waiting, and yeah. Um yeah, I'm so excited for that book as well. So, yay. I'm sure she'll be super
Yay.
happy to know that you loved it. So,
I did love it. I screamed about it a little bit on Goodreads, but as authors, we're not supposed to look there. So,
yeah, yeah. I'm actually okay looking on Goodreads, just I don't look at my own reviews, and I am surprised that I'm able to go on Goodreads and like still use it as a normal person and not be tempted to look at my reviews.
yeah, it's one of those things where it's like sometimes I do sneak a peek at my reviews and I feel like a rebel.
I mean,
So in
as
that
lo-
way, it's kind of like self-esteem boosting. It's like, yes, I'm breaking the rules.
yeah.
First time I've done that.
Yeah. I mean, as long as it doesn't like make you feel bad, there's nothing wrong with looking at
Yeah.
it. But if it makes you feel bad, then I don't do it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel kind of lucky being a middle grade author because I feel like our books, it's not that we get off easy per se, but like there are fewer really strong opinions I've noticed.
Hmm.
I think is why readers are more likely to be on,
Yeah.
social medias or yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I agree, because like I work a lot with I'm a librarian, and I work a lot with kids, middle grade kids, and their parents don't really let them online, which is like, which is important that
That's good.
they don't. Yeah. And so like they don't go on websites and they don't leave reviews. It's usually the parents. So we are very protected from like that level of close interaction, which I don't think is really like, it's not necessary to be like that connected, like, yeah, I do like interacting with fans and I do like talking to readers. And when I get a chance to like talk to middle grade readers, like it always makes me feel like really nice and warm-hearted, but like I don't need to know their thoughts and opinions about, every single chapter. And yeah, so I appreciate that about being a middle grade author. Yeah.
I definitely have my 8-year-old self's voice in my head though, going, "Are you sure that's how you want to write that?" Other than that though, so you haven't read The Empress of Time yet.
No.
Have you been reading anything else that's been like as equally want to scream about it as that was for me?
So I started a really highly anticipated book, which is Babel by R.F. Kuang.
Oh, I read that
And
one.
oh, okay. I literally started it as I was like waiting for our like meet our interview. So I know nothing about it, but I'm really excited about it. So and then
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sorry,
Did
continue.
you like no, yeah, did you like it?
Yeah, I had a lot of like feelings about it, which I guess is a good thing for a book. Yeah,
Yeah.
I had so many thoughts. The thing about her books is that they always like end too soon, where it's like,
Mm-hmm.
wait, I want to know what happens next.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was definitely the case with Babel. So
Yeah. That's
good
funny that
luck.
you feel that way because the book is like this thick. So
I know it's so long, and then I'm like, wait, but where's the rest of it?
yeah. That's funny. That's a good feeling to leave a reader with. So
Were there ever a Girl Giant film adaptation? What
oh.
song would be used for the closing credits?
Wow, that's a great question. And I never thought about song credits. So there's this song, it's part of I think it was part of the original soundtrack of the Netflix show Arcane. Have you ever seen that?
I have seen bits of it. I think my sister really likes it.
It's really good. Like I don't even normally like anime or that sort of style, but it was like amazing. I don't know. I really loved it. But anyway, it has an amazing soundtrack too. And there's a song called Playground by B. Miller. And it's basically just like it's like a villain's playground. And she's like, welcome to my
Oh.
playground, you know? So
Uh-huh.
like for some reason, whenever I hear that song, I think about like, oh, the Monkey King's playground or like some evil
Oh.
person's playground.
Uh-huh.
And like I play that as like inspiration for a different work in progress that I've been thinking about. But I'm like, oh, that would be a pretty good song too for the end of Girl Giant. But yeah, that's a great question. Oh my gosh. What about for your book? Like if it was made into a movie, what would be a good
Oh. I also did the thing where I thought of questions and then didn't think of answers. Uh, so I don't know the answer for the Lost Ryu. Probably like a Miyazaki type song.
yeah.
Closing credits for Miyazaki movies are either like really cute kid songs or like sweeping epic type things. Is that right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But for the one I'm working on now, uh, probably some variation on Hallelujah by Leonard Cohen. No
Uh
relation.
yeah, yeah. I'm also thinking about one for Lost Ryu because like it does seem like a Miyazaki sound or like Joe Hisaishi is the
Yeah, yeah,
composer who
yeah.
always does the Miyazaki movies and I listen to his stuff a lot. So maybe like something by Yo-Yo Ma would be good
Oh,
or
something with
yeah.
like sweeping strings or
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Like that would be, yeah, I think that would be a good closing song. Cause like you always walk away from those movies with like this sense of like nostalgia, you know, and like just like,
Yeah, even if like you've never been to like a
yeah.
yokai spa, it still feels like you have in that weird
Yeah.
way, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. Like you're just like it feels bittersweet and then and then you also want to stay there. I don't know. So
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. I would like to, I think that's like the kind of feeling that I always strive for, like that, like you would leave that reader with that sense of like, oh my God, I want to stay, but also like, okay, it's over, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the middle grade feeling where
Yeah.
something dark may have just happened, but I want to wrap myself in this feeling of yeah.
Okay. Next question is, what is a fictional food that you wish were real? Whether you wrote it or read about it or saw in like a movie or something.
Yeah. So the food in the Lost Ryu that was fictional was uh cannot remember what I called it. The leaf that lets you breathe underwater.
Uh-huh.
Um so I know I said in the book that it was very poisonous. However, I think it would be very cool to see fish like that.
Yeah. It is,
Yeah.
yeah, it's poison, but like only if you take too much. So like if you take a little bit,
Take a little
then
bit.
it'll,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
you take the right amount, it'll let you breathe underwater. But if you go over, then it'll kill you.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
wait, I'm the author. I can just change that, right? I can just
Yeah.
say, okay, no, it's completely safe.
Yes. In real life,
Completely
it's
safe. Yeah.
safe. In the book, it's like that.
That
But
was just for narrative purposes. It's
yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah. Okay. So so Julie Abe wrote Ava Evergreen Semi Magical Witch.
Oh,
I have the
speaking
book.
of looks like a Miyazaki movie, the
Yeah.
cover. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So okay, side tangent. when I read that, I was totally picturing like Kiki's Delivery Service, and then I read Kiki's
Mhm.
Delivery Service, and it was like, wow,
Oh,
these books
yeah,
are
the
just
book
like,
version, it's adorable,
yeah, it's so
yeah.
cute. Yeah. But anyway, so Julie Abe's book has a lot of made up food, and everything that she writes is very like all the food that she writes is just like, wow, I wish that like was real. And there's like this cloudberry popcorn, cloud cloud corn or something. And I wish, because I really love popcorn. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish that was a real food. But
Even just the name sounds amazing.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
I also
Anyway.
recently read a book called Shad Hadid and the Alchemists of Alexandria, I
Oh,
believe.
that sounds really
Um,
good.
and the descriptions of pastries in that book were like soul destroying in that I could not eat them. Like I couldn't eat the pages.
I
It was
know.
very tragic. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That reminds me of The Book Eater by Sun Yi Dean, which just came
Oh,
out.
I've been
And that's
meaning to
also a
write
really
that,
good book.
read that one. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like that that's not so much like I wouldn't want to eat the books, but
The
the
books,
idea,
but
yeah.
the idea,
Yeah.
there's something about it where it's like, yes, I do this mentally.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah, yeah, eating books. But then you if you ate a book, then you would it's almost like you read it, like you absorbed all the information as if you had read it. Yeah, so
yeah.
interesting. What's a writing problem that you struggled with, and how have you coped with it?
Ooh, okay. So a writing problem. I have a tendency to want to like switch verb tenses halfway through a
Mm,
manuscript. And the answer to how I deal with it is I kind of don't. I just rewrite the entire thing and pretend that that was on purpose. But yeah, one thing that I've come to kind of really appreciate over the years, and especially with the book I'm working on now, is how how like narrative distance can change depending on whether it's past, present tense, like almost even
yeah,
more than first, second, or third person. So it's very cool but also kind of annoying because
yeah.
it's something you can't change automatically or anything.
I know. Like you can't just do like Control F and then replace. Like you really have to go through everything. And there will
And like you almost could just do a find and replace, but like not quite. So
yeah.
it's more efficient to just rewrite the whole thing.
Yeah. I I have that problem, and this is why I never write in present tense, because I know that I'm
Really.
going to switch back to past tense. Like I know like I can never stay in present tense. So I just like I'm just gonna choose that for everything to be past tense, and that's fine with me, you know?
Mm.
But
I
yeah.
actually have I've been having the exact opposite problem where I was
Hmm.
like, I was writing everything in past tense because that's what I'm used to. And I was like, oh, it doesn't quite feel immediate enough. And then I was
Hmm.
like, you know what, I can be in denial. I'm just gonna write the rest of the book like this and pretend I never thought of it. But then eventually I was like, okay, yeah, no, I have to this book needs to be in present tense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Funny
Huh.
how stories are like that,
Yeah.
same story, different mode.
Yeah. But yes, I agree that yeah, there are certain stories that need to be in that will tell you that, like I need to be this way. Because like I started my very first draft of Girl Giant was in first person, and like it did not work, and then so instead of like trying to edit it, I just like threw it away and then rewrote it in third person. And like it was like,
Mm.
okay, like this makes more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, I find rewriting to be like the most uh comforting isn't the right word, but I find it easier to rewrite everything than to like actually go in and edit.
Yeah.
Um yeah, what about you?
I have done that many times, and used to think the same way, like, oh yeah, like rewriting or like throwing things away and then just starting over from scratch, like is very like very not helpful, but sometimes it's like the thing that that manuscript needs. But then there was a recent one where I was going to do that, and then I for some reason, usually I just like throw the book away and like never look at it again. Like I don't need to know that part of my my life. But then I was like, oh, I'll just look through this and to like kind of because it's been a while since I had picked up this manuscript again, and like was reading it and was like, oh, like there's some good stuff in here. Like I don't need to throw the whole thing away. So like now
Yeah.
I'm trying to be okay with both methods.
Yeah, and it's hard to tell sometimes. Like sometimes I'll find myself starting over a draft so often that it's like, okay, I think I'm just avoiding writing it.
Hmm.
Um, but other times it's like a clean slate almost, and it's
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Yeah, I've heard, I mean, we're not the only ones who do this. Like I heard that like Kelly Barnhill, she just like throws her drafts away and starts over from scratch. And like it's very liberating. And then I even when I'm editing, sometimes like I'll add something or I'll change something and then like 5 sentences later I realize I've already done that. And I'm like, oh, like I was a genius from the beginning, so like I didn't need to add that in. So yeah.
Love that feeling. I'm also like a compulsive document saver. So like when I throw something away, I'll usually keep it someplace very, very safe. So it doesn't feel like I'm throwing it away. It feels like I'm collecting something,
Yeah.
which feels much more productive. But yeah, that's when I was 9, I lost a Word document and it shaped my writing process forever.
Oh. No. Like, did your computer die or you just like didn't know where you saved it or?
Almost worse, it was a corrupted file. I haven't had a Word
Oh.
file do this recently, but like back in the day, I remember it happening fairly often.
Oh,
It
weird.
was around the time, like I know it must have been something to do with the doc versus doc X thing.
Yeah.
But it meant that I could see a lot of the words that I'd written, but they were like all twisted. It was
Oh.
like someday I'll write like a story where that's a thing where like words get corrupted. There's dollar signs in there now. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be a really good magic system, whatever you come with up with. What's a favorite movie character that you have?
Any Miyazaki character,
Yeah.
except for a lot of the humans, actually.
Hmm.
Totoro, Ponyo, and all of their friends.
Yeah. Yeah, I love Spirited Away. That's like my favorite movie.
Because there's so many little guys. I
Yeah.
love them so much.
I'm gonna go with Spirited Away.
No,
She's my
that's
favorite
that's a good
character.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I think it's mostly the dad from Ponyo that gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Oh
Like
yeah.
Miyazaki kids are always absolutely adorable, and the adults are either super charming or like viscerally terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah. But the one thing about his bad characters is that they have goodness in them and they are
Yeah.
capable of being good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I've noticed that they're like in all of his movies, the bad guys are not like ever just bad guys, they're like they will eventually become good guys.
Yeah, like the Ponyo dad. He's just a dad.
Yeah.
It's very cute.
Yeah. All right. Do you listen to anything when you write? Like, do you have a favorite music?
I used to listen to show tunes when I wrote because I don't know, something about the storytelling
Mm-hmm.
part of their existence was very compelling. I've been trying to like wean myself off of show tunes. I don't know, I feel like I'm too dependent on them. I just feel like a part of high school that just hasn't let go of me yet. So I've been listening to a lot of like Yiddish songs, but
Oh,
like
okay.
Yiddish
You do know
punk.
Yiddish though, right?
Oh, not really. Although
Oh,
I've
okay.
been trying to learn it on Duolingo and I've
Mm.
found that it's mutually intelligible with German, which means it's kind of
Oh.
mutually intelligible with English, which is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of thoughts on that. But yeah. Um so now I've been listening to songs that like every once in a while I'll hear a phrase or word and I'll be like, I know that. But for the
Yeah.
most part, it's just very angry sounding. And I love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You said you
That's
listen to a
awesome.
lot of Joe Hisaishi
Uh,
stuff.
I used to listen to a lot of like instrumentals and like music scores and I'm sorry, film scores and like video game scores because like so
Oh
like
yeah, yeah,
video
yeah.
game scores are like designed so that you can do a different task and
Mm-hmm.
still listen and focus. But then I like realize now that it actually becomes very overwhelming, like overstimulating for me to be because like writing can be very exhausting because like you're going through a lot of emotional changes like along with your characters, and then like with added the music component to it and then I'm just like oh my God, I'm like so tired of all, I don't know, like I maybe because like I'm highly empathetic or something, and I just like get really exhausted, like going through all these like absorbing all these emotions. So now I don't really listen to things like I really do prefer silence, but I
Mm.
used to like listen to a lot of musical scores. But yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing about musicals, I will say, is that uh the songs are designed to like make you feel stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um yeah,
Yeah.
like very specific things too that have to do with like lots of different stories and it can be very overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
Um I think Yeah, I totally get where you're coming from with like just like it feeling like too much and kind of overstimulating. One thing I that's kind of odd about my process is that I learned how to write novels well, like in math class. I don't know if we've had this conversation before.
No.
Something I bring up at book launches because it's very fun or funny. But like I kind of almost don't know how to write if someone isn't talking about math in front of me. And so now that writing is my job, I have to find something that'll like be that same kind of like almost white noise in the background, but like
Uh-huh.
I'm still kind of learning math.
Uh-huh.
Uh so yeah, I guess does that kind of the soundtrack? My
I
math
guess so,
teacher?
yeah. Yeah, because like some people will listen to like music or like cafe noises or something, in the
Yeah, like
background.
ambient noise type
Yeah,
thing.
exactly. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
your ambient noises math class.
Yeah, with that
Yeah.
added sense of danger too of
Yeah.
like I need to know numbers, but I'm also writing.
Yeah, but like math is not, so I'm really sorry to the math people out there, but math is not like emotionally charged. Like it's very
So it does kind
technical.
of go in the background. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
There's
Whereas
also
like,
something beautiful about numbers that I don't have to do
yeah.
anything with myself.
I was thinking, I was like, I'm sure there are people out there who do math for fun. Like, you know how like there are certain things in school, like, okay, like why is reading? I mean, I love reading, more than anyone. Like my author and identity and librarianness is like very centered around reading. But like, why is that the one thing that like continues, it like the subject that continues into like hobby? But like, I'm sure there are people out there who do math as a hobby. And I was like, I have never been compelled to pick up like at my old calculus book and like, figure out derivatives. But like the other day I was like, what if I did? Like what would that do for me? Would I have any fun? I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, the exception for me is geometry. Like I loved geometry in school and I still love geometry even though I don't like any of the surrounding stuff.
Uh-huh.
Um so yeah, I don't know. It is interesting how like you said, reading is like something that becomes a hobby like for a lot of people even if it's not, what they do for a living.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think art, I guess,
Yeah.
music, I guess. But yeah,
But now
yeah.
why not math? Like,
But
are
not
there
yeah,
math
why not math?
hobbyists? Yeah.
Like as stressful as it was in school, like I can also see how it would be really, really relaxing to like solve
Yeah.
problems. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I'll pick it up because like I'm apparently missing a lot of fun in my life because I work a lot and then I when I'm not working I write and when I'm not doing either of those things I spend time with my kid. So it's like when do I have any fun? So it's like I wonder if calculus would be fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and especially like outside the kind of pressure of school and grades, I feel like it could be a really, really great like just
Yeah.
thing to do. Like Sudoku, but
Yeah.
more complicated.
Yeah, exactly. I was just thinking about Sudoku too. Yeah. Huh. Very interesting. Do you create playlists when you write up or when you're in the middle of writing a book? Like, do you create a
Oh, I
playlist for that
try
project?
to. It's so
Yeah.
cool when people like make essentially like curated soundtracks for their books, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't have a wide enough range, musically speaking, to pull it
Mm-hmm.
off. Um, I tried to do it for one project and I was like, okay, it's just this album from this one musical.
Yeah.
That I don't think that counts.
Yeah.
But yeah, as I've been like trying to diversify my listening interests, I've been trying. For this book, for Golem Craft specifically, I think the playlist is going to be like one song over and over again, but like on purpose, like as
Yeah.
an artistic statement.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I didn't before, but then I was writing a historical fantasy recently, and to get my mind back into like that time period, I like came up with a playlist, and I don't listen to it when I'm writing because I can't anymore, but like I'll listen to it when I'm just thinking about the novel or like just like driving and thinking about it, so that I get into that like time period and that setting. But
Mm.
that's the only time. But like most of my other books have been contemporary, like fantasy, but like, in a contemporary setting. So I never really needed to do that, I guess. So yeah.
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 Yeah. It's really interesting. I just thought of that. Like, I'm kind of doing the reverse where I started historical and now I'm writing a contemporary one.
Hmm.
And so suddenly, I tried to make a playlist for the Lost Ryu, and I realized I didn't know a ton of pop songs from Japan from the 60s. I
Uh-huh.
knew one, but that was kind of it.
Yeah.
But this new one takes place in a time when it actually takes place during the like 2 or 3 year span where I knew pop music.
Oh, cool.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
specifically 2011, 2012, 2013. That
That's
was when I went to
cool.
bar mitzvahs.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's cool. I like struggle a lot with like the setting aspect. So like kudos to everyone out there writing historical novels because it is hard.
It is
Yeah.
hard, but I think music is a really good way to kind of try to tap into the feeling of the time because,
Hmm.
yeah, it's there's something philosophical in there about how music ties us together, but it's also just really closely tied to memory as well.
Yeah, yeah. And then like I guess certain hits coming out at certain times tell you a lot about what was going on during that
Yeah.
period. Yeah. Very random, but what is your zodiac sign? And you can do the Western one and the Asian
Oh,
one
okay.
also.
So, wait, what's the difference? Which one's which? I'm so bad at
So
this.
Western is like if you're Capricorn, Aries,
Oh, like the horoscopes.
Sagittarius.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And
then the zodiac being like the one that I had to memorize the order of the animals as a kid.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I was born in the year of the rabbit, but then I'm also an Aries, and I think that actually like caused a like legitimate crisis of faith for one of my classmates once, because apparently like Aries are supposed to be like very strong-willed and confrontational because it's like the bull and bull horns. Um, but I'm not that. I avoid conflict at all costs. So I told her I was like, yeah, I'm an Aries, and she was like, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure, yeah. So I
Yeah.
felt kind of bad about that. What
Yeah,
about you?
yeah. So I'm a Capricorn, but I don't really identify as it. Like I don't know much about Capricorn. So and every time I tell someone I'm a Capricorn, they're like, "Oh no." Like and I'm very like, "Oh no, I don't want to be that person. Like I don't want to do this, you know?" So like I don't know. But I will always read my horoscope and be like, "Yeah, okay, I'm going to manifest that success." But on the Asian zodiac, I'm a dragon, which I like I'm okay with being a
Oh,
dragon. So
yeah, that's a good one.
you know how the like Asian or not Asian, but like most Asian countries will follow like the lunar calendar. So like
Mhm.
even though I was born in a certain year, I according to like the lunar calendar, I'm a dragon, but all the rest of my classmates were snakes. You know, so then I was
Yeah.
always like that lone dragon in a sea of snakes. Yeah,
I
so
was a rabbit in a sea of tigers,
yeah.
which sounds like an
Yeah.
awesome like album title, but
Yeah, yeah. So I maybe in a way I also like wanted to be a dragon because I didn't want to be a snake. I don't know. So like I really
dragons are
identify
very
with
cool.
that.
They're like cool
Yeah.
snakes.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, I it's always very confusing. I learned embarrassingly recently that Japan celebrates the Lunar New Year on the Solar New Year.
Oh, okay.
It's like a relic of the Meiji era when they were like, yeah, we want to be Europe.
Yeah.
So yeah, it means that yeah, I got so confused when I was learning Japanese in college because I was like, wait, but no, it's not the year of what's going on?
Yeah.
What's go Oh, okay. Time is meaningless. I'm
That's very
spiraling. But
interesting.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure there's like a bit like a very deep history, but I always thought that Japan didn't even celebrate Lunar New Year for some reason. I don't know why I have that in my head,
Yeah,
but
it's
yeah.
well, now they kind of it's a very strange country, but yeah.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah. Yeah. I love Lunar New Year, but like once it's over for me, it's over. Like we're not gonna talk about this. Like no more lanterns and no more fake firecrackers. Like it's done. I feel that way about every like holiday that I love. Like leading up to Christmas, I'm like, put up all the lights, bring out all the presents. And then once it's over, I'm like, put away the tree. No more. I don't want to hear about this Christmas stuff. Yeah.
everything's better when it's like a special time and then
Yeah. And then it's
go back
over.
to normal. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like there was one year when for some reason our where I work we had our holiday party after the holidays and we just called it like a leftover party or after party whatever. And I was like so over it. I was like, no, I don't want to be
Mm.
here. Like it's over. The holidays are over. Like why are we still celebrating?
If you could go back in time and give your books to one historical figure or like person in the past, who would it be?
Because my book is for kids. I always picture like parents and teachers reading it. Actually,
Oh.
if it was translated into Vietnamese, I would give it to my parents.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would give an untranslated copy to like one ancestors before English was ever even seen in Japan. I just aspire to be like an agent of chaos, and I feel
Yeah.
like that would be a good way to go about doing
Yeah,
it.
yeah. And they'll like put it into their like prophecy, like whatever
Yeah,
archives. And then
try to
one
like
day
decipher it.
yeah,
Yeah.
someday somebody will be like, oh my gosh, she knew, she knew. Yeah, that's a good one. That would
Yeah.
definitely change history. Yeah.
But in like a weird and not actually changing it kind of a way, in like an
Yeah.
arcane, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
like putting a McDonald's logo in the hieroglyphs or whatever, just
Yeah. All right, those are all the questions that we had.
yay.
Do you have anything else you wanted to interject? I'm trying to think of something. But
I
yeah, I
don't
think
think so. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Okay, I think that's it. And thank you everyone
Yeah.
for watching our
Thank
very
you.
chaotic random video. And we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Writing can be hard. I'm here to obsess over the wholesome, delightful, fulfilling practices, solutions, and tools that I love about crafting stories. I'm Van Hoang, author and librarian. Join me on my journey of joyful writing.